That's a Freudian.
Be careful. Thank you. Right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the council meeting for the 4th of March. Please join me in standing for the opening karakia. Whakataka tiuru. Okay, I've got an apology from Councillor McClellan and most probably Councillor Coker just for lateness. She's stuck in a bit of traffic. That's all right. And I'm happy to move that, and Sam's happy to second that. All those in favour? Thank you. That's carried. I have a declaration noted from Councillor Coker relating to application in item 14. Has anyone else got any declarations of interest? If you have, or you think about it halfway through, don't be scared to put your hand up. Okay. So, first up, we'll hear from our comm boards. First is Waipapa, and I'd like to welcome Sunita and Simon to the table, please. Welcome.
Kia ora. Good morning, everyone. First, I would like to wish all of you Happy Holi, a festival of colours. It's today. So may the colours bring light, happiness and health to all of your lives. It's my first time, so be nice to me. Proud to be here representing our community board with Simon. To start with, I've got Deputation, which we had regarding Phillipstown Hub. Brian Gilchrist from Phillipstown Community Centre Charitable Trust presented to us about MOE disposal, and Wayne Hawker also talked about the same item. Alison Alsop was there to talk about Emberley Crescent and Edgware Road, Springfield Road pedestrian safety improvements, and Miriam O'Connor was also there to talk about the same item.
As I mentioned last month, Summer with Your Neighbour started as Neighbourhood Week back in 1998 under the Shirley Papanui Community Board and is now extended citywide and summer-wide. Recent events in our community have included the annual Avebury House Teddy Bears Picnic with around 80 under-5s and their caregivers and their teddy bears in attendance. The Mayoral Charitable Trust, based up in Redwood, held a gathering as a thank you to their volunteers, and the Saraband Ave community held their annual barbecue lunch.
One of the extreme pleasure of this job is to go and celebrate our Tamariki. So I have got privileged on 21st of November to present an award to Pariwawa Banks Avenue School to Alex for their outstanding community spirit and school hearts. And on 11th of December, I presented an award at Casebrook Intermediate to John, who was recognized for exceptional community spirit as well. Additionally, a dancers group, also Euphoria, and Ann Lee Dance Group was supported by our community board.
Over summer, our governance team, in partnership with the Waimario board, supported Papanui Youth Development Trust in their annual pool party at Jelly Park, featuring hydro slides, a manu competition, DJ and sausage sizzle. And we also celebrated the first anniversary of Little Poland Park and acknowledged it's now 81 years since the arrival of the Polish children of Pahiatua, 107 years since of Poland's independence. We launched at that celebration consultation on further landscaping at the park, and we've got a report coming to next week's meeting with a recommended plan.
Just before Christmas last year, Charleston Neighbourhood Association held their end-of-year celebration, and I was fortunate enough to join with them and celebrate. It's a lovely community out there in Charleston group, and I commend their commitment to Mahi, what they do. Next is that we had a petition in December from Edgware Village business community about the safety reported begging and antisocial behavior in Edgware Village. Board invited local businesses and community organizations on 23rd of February with a representative of police, council advisor and city mission outreach work. This meeting provided the opportunity to discuss the report, behaviors in village and to explore solution to address the issue. As an outcome, police are providing business owner with advice and crime prevention in the area, and an information campaign is not giving money to people who are begging. Please spread the word in other communities as well. Thank you.
Acknowledging our governance team who consistently put time and energy into supporting Children's Day each year, and to all of those volunteers and supporters involved in running the day. So it runs on the first Sunday in March each year, and this past weekend it was a day of two halves. Around 8,000 families attending and participating in a great first couple of hours before the rains came down.
Community board plan and annual plan is up for consultation. So we also had community liaison hui on 4th of December, where we had an opportunity for board to connect with our local community and was a platform to contribute their ideas. So I commend staff work on that day of really workshopping it so well that community engagement was quite uplifted. And so, as I earlier mentioned, that the plan is up for consultation through libraries at the moment and through the bubble tool we have. Now, Mihinoi, thank you.
Thank you very much. It's always good to hear from you, and thanks for making the effort to come in. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Okay, Spraden Cashmere Heathcote, Kia and Sophie, please.
Good morning, kia ora. Kia Leslie, I'm the Community Board Chair, and it is my pleasure to introduce Sophie Bond, who is our new Deputy Chair and Community Board member for Spraden, who's joining us for the first time today. Yeah. So, we have a couple of things to talk about today, but I think the first one, and one which is a decision for you to make, is around the Part A on the Cashmere-Penruddock roundabout. There will probably be a range of views on some of the design choices on that roundabout. There certainly were at the Community Board, and there was a vote and an outcome, and I'm presenting the board's view today, not my own. So the outcome was a roundabout that included speed bumps on all the entrances and exits, and that was option 2 in the report. The Part A decision that is in front of you folks today is around the cycle lanes. I think it's quite important that the two things are held a bit separate. That there was one decision, and then this is now around that cycle lane decision. And I'm sure Councillor Scandrick can speak a bit further to that one if he wants to when we get there. Sophie,
I'll speak to the Sumner Beach access ramp. So last week we received an update that construction of a replacement ramp really will start in May. So this is on Mariner Street where you already have disabled parking. The idea is to greatly improve this ramp so that it meets accessibility standards. The genesis of this was the Sumner Community Residents Association and the Scarborough Dippers, and has huge support from Disabled People's Assembly and the Coastal Pathway Group, and obviously it will just be a huge asset for anyone who's struggling with arm loads of boogie boards or a pram or is a wheelchair user.
Obviously, we had some quite major weather recently. I'm sure, obviously, the Banks Peninsula Community Board will talk a lot more about that and how that affected them. But we just wanted to obviously bring to the Council's attention that the impacts that's been through in the Apawaho catchment, it was really pleasing to see that even though we had roads flooding, we haven't seen any houses flooded, and that shows that those drainage and retention work has really made a difference to that catchment. We probably are going to continue to see those roads and those terraces floods. They are natural floodplains. That is a reality that I think we have to live with and we have to plan for. One thing that has come up a lot since the flooding has been the ongoing discoloration, that kind of muddy brown coffee is probably the polite way to phrase it, colour of the river. The underlying driver of that, as I'm sure people are aware, is that Lua's runoff coming off the Port Hills. And one of the things that is sitting in our board plan, and I'd encourage people to go have a look, and if anyone following along would like to make a submission, please go ahead and do so, is looking at that whole catchment, how we can look at from the Port Hills all the way through to the estuary, because we know that it's all one system, and what happens up on the hills has a real impact on what happens through the river. And finally, we've had a really great summer of events across the board area. One of the ones I'd love to give a particular shout out to is House of Hopes, which was down across a couple of places, but in Addington, and it's really cool just to see that that community energy and that just that youth-led excitement coming to our communities. That was really cool. Will Hall would be mad at me if I didn't mention the T20 Summer Smash, which was a fundraiser for the rebuild of the Sumner Pavilion. And I know Will was really gutted that he didn't get the call up to go out and pad up, and I think instead has been encouraged to get in touch when they move on to the Dancing with the Stars option. So yeah, happy to take any questions.
Pauline, yes, please.
Just reading your report, you didn't mention the river raft race coming up this weekend, is it?
No, if you would like to get in touch and jump on a raft, we
I'm
can.
building one out of my egg cartons. Looks great. This is the first time since 2010.
Yeah. No, that's really exciting, and look, shows the connection people across the board area have with the river and how passionate they are about it.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Tim. Yeah.
Just a couple of things that, as Kia and Sophie mentioned, with regards to there were no flooding of houses, and I think that our board worked so hard with the staff to get the retention basins, etc. One which has been recognised worldwide, but that was a long journey and a hard slog. But it's working and it's fantastic. The other one is all of our communities, both Spraydon, Cashmere, and Sumner, Redcliffe, Waltham, etc. The increase in housing is affecting those communities who people drive through, and I think that the Penruddock roundabout has been a long journey. I do have a notice of motion to come to the community board about a couple of things, but it's just one of those things that is needed, and I think that it's not just our communities, right through Christchurch. These things will be coming to the forefront more and more to other communities as well. So I would just want to thank the community board for the work we did on that.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you very much. Okay, so we now have Fendleton, Waimari Harewood, Jason and Marianne, please. Morning.
Good morning, everybody. The second edition of the very successful Avonhead Russley Community Directory is now live online. The directory provides information on the wide range of activities and programs available in our area. On the 21st of February, a community expo was held at the Avonhead Community Trust. This free event was open to all and provided an opportunity for groups featured in the directory to come along and share information on their activities with the local community. Although it wasn't the best weather, approximately 700 people turned up to the Belfast Fresh event at Sheldon Park, hosted by the Belfast Community Network. The young people who attended enjoyed the free hair braids, barber cuts, basketball competition, crazy bikes and lots more. There was still a brave few who plunged into the pool for a swim and pool-related games. A huge vote of thanks to the Belfast Community Network along with the team from YCD for putting on such a great local event. Our board was pleased to be able to support this event with some funding from our discretionary response fund. After a lot of initial great work from council staff and local residents, the Friends of Nepal Reserve Group has now been established to continue the guardianship of this local reserve. The group is being led by local Burnside resident and environmental science student Bula Prague. She is very passionate about the reserve and will bring great leadership to the group. They held their first working bee in early February, where local residents, including a number of children, came along to weed the newly planted areas at the reserve. The group was over the moon that we were able to assist them to purchase a number of gardening gloves that will be made available to the volunteers who attend the working bees. I'm sure most of you are aware of Council's Computers to the Community scheme. The scheme is administered by the local community governance team at Fendleton and distributes ex-council desktops and laptops to not-for-profit community groups across the city. This is a great example of cross-unit partnerships within council, with the IT unit preparing the devices for disposal and the local governance team staff receiving and assessing requests from the community and arranging the pickups. Over the past 12 months, 551 computers have been given out to a range of groups. The most recent recipients include Riccarton Knights Rugby League, Community Development Network Trust, Canterbury Softball and Esports Otatahi. The team has also recently been given other devices including TV screens and cell phones. These are being snapped up very quickly by groups. The feedback continues to highlight how valuable this scheme is, as funding for these types of devices can be very difficult to obtain. Finally, like all the boards, we've been workshopping our draft priorities for our new community board plan. These are now available for community feedback, and we look forward to hearing the views of our local residents on our proposed priorities. Thank you very much.
Oh, you got all this time. Any questions? You've done a fantastic job. Thank you very much for coming in. Good to see you. Okay. Horswell, Hornby, Riccarton, Marie and Sarah, please.
Right, so apologies from my deputy chair, Sarah. So I've got our governance manager with me, Bailey Peterson.
Excellent.
So kia ora, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to present the report of the Waipuna, Holswell, Hornby, Riccarton Community Board. I'll be giving you first updates of some of our upcoming and ongoing projects. First up is the Whaka-Ora Templeton Cemetery. The Whaka-Ora Christchurch Cemetery Concept Plan outlines the proposed development of a new cemetery at Templeton to meet Christchurch's future burial capacity needs and fulfill the Council's statutory obligations. The plan provides staged development, landscape buffering, culturally inclusive burial areas, and supporting facilities, while seeking to manage impacts on nearby residents and the adjacent quarry. Now, Council staff recommended approval of an amended concept plan that responded to community feedback by increasing separation from residential properties and retaining the proposed staging sequence. However, at its meeting on the 10th of February, 2026, the Community Board resolved to lay the report on the table and requested staff to investigate and prepare a concept plan that would provide for the area identified as Stage 2 to be developed first. So we are probably expecting it to come back to the board in 12 to 18 months, and then it'll come to Council as a Part A report. Now, the second topic is the Amy's, Awatea, and Springs Road intersections. This project considers safety improvements at the Amy's Springs Road and Awatea Springs Road intersections. Since 2024, the Community Board has been briefed on upgrade options, with community engagement confirming significant concerns about dangerous right turns, pedestrian and cyclist safety, and congestion. At the February 2026 workshop, staff presented two options. One is do minimum option. This is to install traffic signals at both intersections with undergrounding of power lines and limited curb, stormwater, and footpath works, no full road renewal. The option one was the signals plus the full carriageway, curb and channel, footpath renewal, stormwater improvements, landscaping, and better cycle separation. Now, several road assets are near end of life. Delivering renewals later could increase total costs to around 6.6 million if done in stages. The current funding that we have for this project is insufficient. So additional funding would be required through the long-term plan if the project is prioritized. Staff will continue detailed design while the board will continue to advocate for the funding for this project through the long-term plan. Now, the Hayton-Wigram intersection construction is another update. The council approved intersection improvements for the Wigram-Hayton Road intersection, and while this has temporary impact in causing delays for our community, this upgrade is to meet the needs of our growing community and the new facilities in the area. The work involves replacing the existing three-way priority-controlled intersection with a four-way signalized intersection. The existing access to Ngapunawai Sports Hub via the Christchurch Southern Motorway will be sealed and connected to the signalized intersection, and a new shared path will be provided on the northern side of Wigram Road, connecting to the Little River Link Cycleway. Work is underway and is expected to take 3 months. The board looks forward to seeing this works complete and the impact it will have on the surrounding areas. Now, update on the draft Community Board Plan 2026 to 28. The Community Board has developed its draft Community Board Plan for the term. As part of the development of the plan, the Community Board heard from our community who presented their updated community visions, one each for Halswell, Hornby, and Riccarton. The draft plan includes a range of transport, facility, and well-being related priorities, and we look forward to hearing the community feedback on this once the consultation period is finished. Now, Fresh Pool Party in Matatiki. A lively Matatiki pool party was held on January 23rd, bringing together young people from across the community for an evening filled with fun, connection, and positive vibes. Delivered by Youth and Cultural Development, the event's success demonstrates the importance of youth-centered initiatives and the meaningful contribution they make to the broader community. We have Summer with Your Neighbors. I think everybody has that. We've also got House of Hoops in Riccarton, and delivered by the Youth and Cultural Development. And we've also got the Authentic Fijian Food and Recipes Project, which, was received off the ground funding towards their project. And then we have last summer community partnership rangers collaborated with local groups on a variety of community activities in our community parks. Thank you. I think I have run out of time there. All good?
Wonderful. Yanni, please.
Yeah, thank you. I know there's a number of intersections and speed limit changes that you're considering in the southwest area. I was just wondering if there's any information we can get on the southwest area plan implementation. Like, is there because I see there's also been a proposal for some sort of new roading infrastructure.
So you're asking for an update on the implementation of the Southwest Area Plan, which was adopted by Council in 2009?
Yeah, and I'm just wondering if the community board is monitoring that plan and how the different projects are aligned to it.
We do. We do.
Probably beyond the scope of the board's presentation, because it wasn't covered in the board's presentation.
Like, if you look in the report, there's the speed limit changes, there's
Not in
the
their presentation.
road. There in the presentation,
It was
there's
the
intersection improvements.
Wigram-Hayton intersection
Yeah.
specific.
Yeah.
So the
That's
local,
separate.
the local councillor, I believe, has offered to talk to you about it. So that's probably the first port of call.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Marie.
Right.
Okey-dokey. So now we've got Paul and Jackie from Coastal Burwood Linwood, please.
I'll just climb onto my chair. I'll need a ladder if they get me high. Lorena, councillors, I got the feel-good stories this week. I'd like to start with saying kia ora e te whānau and just reminding us all that as elected members, we are all elected to work together to further the good of our city. Okay, so the Linwood Waterway Group have teamed up with artist Nick Lowry and the Te Aratai College Year 8 students to create a mural along the drain in Linwood. These initiatives increase our local participation in coming for our environment, and I'm reading the wrong one. No, I'm not the right one. Good. Go back. See, I'm not used to doing it from this end now. I'm confused. It's like, seriously, here we go. Back to the beginning. The Te Haiato Kuaka New Brighton Village Green was opened on Sunday, 21st of December. They've welcomed their first businesses, and this is a vibrant mix of wellbeing, food, creativity and local character that's coming alive just off Marine Parade near the New Brighton Pier. So it'd be good if you're out that way to check it out. Village Green. Right, yeah, the Linwood Waterway, we did that one. Here we go. And we had some pretty revolting weather for the kite day, not our usual sunny brilliance. But it was still a great crowd down in New Brighton Beach, and there were plenty of buskers available there with music, acrobatics, juggling and comedy. So those are the feel-good things for Waitai this month. Thank you.
Brings us to our advocacy section. Wastewater treatment plant. It stinks.
Still
you
stinks.
all know it. I estimate about 2,000 people are affected all the time. And probably about 5,000 regularly, and then there's all the people who are affected when it spikes. It's a chronic problem with acute spikes. It's excellent that we have Gary in his new role, and we're grateful for the work that he's already done with our local team, and I can't speak highly enough of him or our local team. We do support investigating anything that could reduce the load on the ponds, with the caveat that it cannot end in solids being washed up on the beach, nor in environmental damage, and it cannot create another problem downstream. We're also concerned that the rapid drop in temperatures that we've seen recently with a lot of rain is also going to lead to another spike in hydrogen sulfide, so I hope that we are prepared for that eventuality. And just a flag for the annual plan, we're sure that this, we're consulting on it now, but we're sure that this meets with the hopes of our community. There's lots of work to do to regenerate around the Eastgate Linwood area. Lots of small wins are possible, but this one is a big one. We cannot rely on the mall, on Eastgate Mall, to lead the development. It's been a generation and it hasn't been successful. We cannot rely on private landholders and businesses to do this. We need a public anchor project to lead the revitalisation of this area. And that Smith Street Depot is pretty dated, it's pretty beige, and it's underutilised, and we'd be excited to see what we could come up with. Happy to take any questions if you have any.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. Anyone? Yanni, please.
Thanks. Just in regards to the wastewater treatment plant, in terms of the board's involvement in that going forward, would you expect to be briefed on the proposal?
Of course, we'd like to be briefed on the proposal. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would seem to be a normal part of the process.
And do you think, I mean, just sort of reflecting on the desire to look at different options, do you think there needs to be additional governance oversight of the response on a more regular basis, e.g. perhaps a working party, perhaps a task force, perhaps some sort of joint structure between council and the community board to be looking at it on a weekly basis, given the impact it's having?
Whatever way, if we can find ways of ensuring that there is broad participation and communication, and that it's not going to get in the way of things getting done, then whatever that might be, that sounds good.
Okay, thank you, Yannick. Samuel.
Hey, it was just to say, hey, well done on that public meeting the other week too, Paul. I thought you did a really good job chairing it, and you took a lot of the flak for the community, so appreciate it.
Yeah, very good. It was well done.
No worries. It was
Okay,
a good time
thank you.
for all.
Thank you very much. Good to see you. Okay, so last but certainly not least, we have Lynn and her deputy chair. Nigel. Yes, this is Nigel's first time sitting there, I believe. So you guys have certainly been through the thick of it in the last month.
We have, and before I get to that, I'll take a moment to introduce my new Deputy Chair, Nigel Miller from Diamond Harbour, Mount Herbert. Having only just been elected on Monday, he's literally diving into the deep end, attending with me today, but I know that you're a friendly bunch, and I have no worries that he'll be a great support to me and Banks Peninsula too. So, welcome, Nigel, councillors, Nigel.
Thank you.
All right, next slide. Today we also remember Nigel Harrison, who was born and bred on the Peninsula, who gave so much of himself to the community he loved. With a deep passion for history, a knack for antique bottle hunting, and a warm presence at the front desk of the Whaka-Ora Museum. He was also a tireless champion for anything that helped Whaka-Ora and Banks Peninsula thrive. We will miss him dearly. It has been a horrible month for Banks Peninsula, but we have one bright spot with the long-awaited opening of Flora netball courts at Naval Point recently. It was a lovely event, and the crowds were a testament to the real impact Flora made on this community. As I take you through the rest of the presentation, I want you to get a real understanding of the impact of the recent flooding. Next slide, thank you. I believe that when we understand a problem, we start to see how we can help. We become better equipped to be part of the solution, and that's all that I ask for you today, is just to understand. As you can see, there's a very handsome gentleman there on the right who is standing in a big crater, our mayor, Phil Major, and to the right is Bernie, who is a local, who's actually standing upright. And he's about, 1'8", 1'9", he's quite tall. So, big gouges. After the 16th February floods, most people outside the area thought, and rightly so, it's just another flood for Little River. But this time it was different. We are still in recovery mode. Most people outside the area thought, we're still in recovery mode. I need to go that. These last weeks have been very reminiscent of the earthquakes. There has been silt, dust, PTSD, and everyone who is unaffected by the flood can't really grasp the impact this has had on us, and it will have on us for months to come. In some places, more than 400 millimetres fell in 24 hours. That's like a lot of water. Torrents from the upper valleys carved channels up to 1.5 metres deep as they pressed down on roads and driveways, leaving slips that threatened homes and disrupted daily life. Lower valleys became flooded channels that carried silt and debris into communities, with the rivers overbanking and moving across land towards the valley, leaving tons of contaminated silt in around homes and on the land itself. Water sources were contaminated, water pumps were destroyed, silt was shin deep in places, and the power and internet services failed. In Little River, 3 homes were red stickered and 2 yellow stickered, underscoring the severity of the damage and the disruption to families and livelihoods. The school was closed for 2 weeks and has just reopened on Monday, and beyond the physical damage, we face the human and logistical challenge of maintaining essential services and safety in the aftermath. Wainui had major damage to their roads and bridges, meaning people didn't have access in or out of the bay for quite some time. Rivers have changed course and ploughed through recreational areas and businesses. Some areas will never be able to be used the same way again. That's Wainui, yeah. The Whaka-Ora region had severe inundation at Charteris Bay Golf Club, forcing the closure of Anderson Marine Drive and isolating several bays. Despite the disruption, including cancelled cruise ship visits, urgent medical prescriptions were ferried across to ensure residents could still access essential supplies. The impact extended to Allendale and Teddington, which were completely isolated, with trees down on either side of roads. Power outages affected homes where a snapped power pole along the road to Governor's Bay Jetty interrupted essential services. It was a truly crazy time. And I'd like to finish with 2 things. Firstly, thank you so much to all the council staff and elected members who helped and continue to help with the aftermath. There are too many to name here now. Your efforts, your care for the people, your commitment to Banks Peninsula is invaluable. And it was really felt, so thank you so much. Secondly, this isn't just a Banks Peninsula problem. This is a Christchurch-wide issue and a national problem. But for today, in that it will take us all to understand so that there can be change. When the rain's pouring and things get messy, the situation can get complicated, but our jobs still remain simple. Look out for our communities, hear from them, think things through, and make smart, steady decisions around recovery and proactive climate resilience. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Lynn, and very good to see you, Nigel.
Cheers.
Okay, have you got a question, Yanni?
Thank you, and can I just acknowledge what you've been through? We went to Anuku Marae yesterday, so we drove through Little River and saw firsthand some of the impacts, but you've obviously given us a more extensive report. Is there anything that we can do as a council to support your community in terms of resources that would be helpful?
We have some very good working groups already working with flooding mitigation, especially in Waihoro. Our community board is very connected, so I guess taking decisions or including the community in decision making and resourcing is really important. Continuing to support emergency response groups, the hubs that we're establishing around Banks Peninsula, and whatever you can to support elected members, I guess. It's
What about psychosocial support?
Oh yes, good point. Psychosocial help as well. Yes, as well. That's a real gap that seems to be missing as far as civil defence, great, council, great. Now lots of people affected in other complicated ways that need support, and there is, isolation is a big part of Banks Peninsula, and people going to their GP on their own accord may not necessarily be part of the equation. So how do we help those people? Yeah.
One of the things that, thanks Lynn, one of the things that I'm very keen about is for getting more traction on that mechanical solution for getting the water
mitigation.
Lake Forsyth. I was very impressed with the presentation that came to us, and I understand it's fairly well through the process, but I encourage all our councillors to work towards that, well, when it comes to us on what can happen. And as you know, you and I spend a bit of time tearing up and down very narrow roads. There's thoughts in my head that there's ways I think we can work with the local farmers and maybe have some secondary flow paths in some parts of the district there, and especially in Little River, to alleviate the flooding and I know some people say it was all of the problem was the lake, but I still think it wasn't. It was getting the stuff. There was so much rain, as you said, you cannot plan for that. But to get it from where it was to the lake is one of the issues that needs to be addressed. So I'm working with, I have actually talked to ECAN on this one, and I have on the other ones as well, contrary to popular belief. I've talked to ECAN about how we can move forward on doing something with looking at parts of that river network to maybe make things better. So
fantastic.
Because last thing, as I said to you there before, I was there last May with the minister. I was there last month with the minister. I do not want to be there in 10 months' time with the minister again, because it's not fair on the people.
No, you're right. Thank you. Thank you for all your help.
Good on you, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, so thank you to all our community boards. I am more than happy to move it, and Pauline's more than happy to second it. All those in favour? Aye, thank you. That's passed. So now we get into public forum. We have Stephen Wood here, who would like to talk about vulnerable road users. Stephen, welcome.
Morning. Once again, I'm coming towards council with a topic that was just picked out of air at short notice. I did try and come to the last meeting and speak about something else, and in the debate I was not allowed to speak on that topic, so I picked something out of the air, and then later on I wasn't allowed to get to the last meeting on that, so this is the encore of that. For those who don't know me, I grew up, I went to university in Christchurch and learnt to cycle, get around by cycle, and then I went away for 30 years and came back. I now live in Burwood, not far from my councillor Kelly. I'm part of Spokes Canterbury and Cycling Action Network, but today I'm speaking for myself. Vulnerable road users, I don't really like the framing in the title. It sort of sets yourself up for being a victim straight away. Perhaps we should call them uncaged road users. Christchurch has got a huge network of roads, 2,400 kilometres. Some of those have got footpaths on either side, dedicated lane for pedestrians. So I'm guessing that's 4,000 kilometres of footpath, you'll know better. We've got 75 kilometres of major cycleways built. I think the plan is to get up to 100. So that's a very small part of the roading network. And everywhere else, we are sharing the same roads. Next slide, can I do that here? Oh, sorry. Sorry. Oh, yep. So if you look at the number, often when we're talking about road safety, we're just looking at death and serious injuries. There's a table at the top of that slide, which is summary of fatalities, road fatalities for the last few years. Fairly small numbers. It's only telling part of the story. I looked in the crash analysis system, which is based on police reports of crashes. It's got a total of just over 900,000 entries for the last 25 years. Pulled out just Christchurch one, and the table and the graph show minor injuries, minor crashes, those that are different severities, and the bottom line on that graph is fatality. So on all of those, there's a tiny downward trend, but nothing spectacular. The last government had a very proactive road strategy to reduce death and serious injuries on the thing. It was called Road to Zero. It was based on a safe system approach. The new government's sort of done something better, and it's balancing safety against productivity, efficiency, and time, travel, and community support. So it's kind of got watered down what we're trying to do with safety. There is also an element of get tough type of thing, so looking at the speeders and the drink drivers and so on. It makes for an interesting time for road safety workers and traffic planners, and the slide at the right is of this is an example of one traffic planner getting a bit frustrated and drew it out as a bit of a thing, so you can't put some things in because you might offend the wrong people, and it's messy. So we've got transport networks for different modes of travel, and these are two plots from your transport strategy for the next 30 years. The main thing is that you're trying to get a network, lots of connections. The MCR program's been a great start towards the network, but it has a big project feel, and that's sometimes generated resistance. What's more important is that we get local connections, we join them up. So here are two networks, one where you're concentrating on our network for freight, heavy vehicles, and one where the cycle is being emphasised. One of the things that's important to get separations between these. Just over 10 years ago, there was a cycle safety panel that one of its key recommendations was that a cyclist should be given separate facilities on heavy freight routes. I've sort of made a vow every time I came to council I would present this slide. It's just a reminder there's different types of cyclists. A facility for that's aimed at one kind of cyclist isn't necessarily going to be the route of choice for another kind of cyclist. Someone like Aaron, for example, will make a different choice to someone who's a little bit nervous. So I won't go into all the details, but there are different facilities that cater for each kind of cyclists, and they've got different expectations of how much they'll cope with busy traffic and traffic stress.
Stephen, how much more have you got?
One more.
Okay, good man.
Yep. So we need to talk about what vulnerable road users have got. There are some new classes in there, the e-scooters. There's another one we haven't really hit the radar. It's that high-powered bikes with electric motors are technically vehicles and shouldn't be treated like cycles. We should work on the safe system approach because that's the best on addressing things. Basically work to give people choices. So some of this, it's very easy to see from the outside. I'm going to make an offer that anybody around this table who wants to go and see what it's like to cycle around your city, I'm happy to guide you around. I'd help you choose routes. I've got cycles I can lend you. If you don't want to bike on your own, I've got a tandem, which I'm now using with the blind and low vision people. Well, keep an eye on it. I've got mirrors to see what you're doing. So if anybody does want to see what it's like around your own part of the city, I'm welcome to work with you and just so you can see it from the point of view of a cyclist.
Thank you. Thank you for your offer, Stephen, and thank you for making the effort to come in and see us. That's great. Thank you. Okay, so now Yvette, on behalf of Whaka-Ora Healthy Harbour, to update the council on the program. Maybe. Sorry. Hello, Yvette. Very good to see you again. The floor is all yours.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Some familiar faces around the table. Thank you for having us here today. It's always a privilege to be able to come in front of people that are committed to service and are willing to put themselves out there. And I, for one, have been driven totally through Whaka-Ora in terms of that ability to be able to serve the community. And I'd just like to start off with this point of saying thank you. Thank you for having us here. And to also start off from the point of partnership and what partnership actually looks like and the importance of it, and Christchurch City Council's role within that partnership with Whaka-Ora. And to my side here we have our new program manager. She is going to take you through what has been achieved through that partnership over the years that Whaka-Ora has been in place. So I really just want to be able to encourage you to think about partnership and the importance of Whaka-Ora and the role that it actually plays within the Littleton Harbour and your place there. You know, one of my mentors, he always said was to me that politicians will come and go, and I know that. I sat on the council table for Environment Canterbury. We will come and go, and we have our goals, and we want to be able to achieve quite a few things. However, the one thing that never changes and goes away, which you all know, which is our community. Whaka-Ora is based on community. I drive this program believing and supporting in the community of Littleton Harbour. Without the community of Littleton Harbour, there will be no Whaka-Ora. They are the drivers. They are the ones on the ground that are doing the mahi, that are working towards wanting this program to be able to develop. So in all the changes that we're going through at the moment, and by golly, we're going through a lot, please hold firm during that time belief in partnership and what we can do. That is what makes Whaka-Ora the strength that it is. It has a partnership of 5 partners, which is yourselves, Christchurch City Council, Environment Canterbury, Ngāi Tahu, Te Hapua Ngāti Wheke, and Littleton Port Company. That is unique in itself in terms of how long that partnership has actually been running. People will come and go, but the longevity sits in those partnerships and what they can actually contribute. So I'd like you to hold on to that, and thank you for the mahi, and I'll come back and thank you near the end for that. And I'd now like to hand over to Sarah, who will just show you what we have achieved over the years and would like you to continue to support. Kia ora.
Kia ora koutou. Ko Sarah Wilson tōku ingoa. I'm the new Program Manager for Whaka-Ora, as Yvette has said. How do I get the slide to go to the next one? Thank you.
You're onto it.
As Yvette has said, firstly, thank you. Christchurch City's been a partner for the 8 years that the agreement or the partnership's been in place. It's around 400,000 plus many hours of staff time, councillor time. Really want to thank Tyrone in particular, his involvement with the governance group, and just the mahi around that is outstanding. As you can see, we've just got some, we like to joke about the fact there are approximate numbers of 242,231 native trees planted and a lot of pest animals removed. I want to just really briefly go over the program, and we've got a short time, so this is very crisp. So next, thank you. This is a map which should be familiar to you. It's of Whaka-Ora, Littleton Harbour. The bits that are hatched in yellow are Christchurch City Council Reserve. As you'll see, they're core to the program. They're well aligned with the other work that happens in sub-catchments right around the harbour to contribute to the health of the harbour as a whole. I'm really not going to spend, this is kind of a quick overview, so let's go to the next slide. Thank you. 3 key result areas. Firstly, and top priority around sediment. Boy, especially in the last few weeks, this is top of mind for all of our communities. Second, biodiversity, mahinga kai. This is not a conservation park, despite the green of the slides, which may have been a little unfortunate. This is about use. It's about using and living a lived-in landscape. And thirdly, around weeds and pests. Thank you. If we could go to the next slide, thank you. Sediment. This is a picture from Te Ahu Pātiki under Mount Bradley, Mount Herbert. And this is some of the storm damage in 2 weeks ago. So a large silt dam formed at the top of that area at the top of the slide there, this photo, and dammed up and then crashed right down through Te Wharo Stream, taking out all of the riparian vegetation. Where that slip happened was in gorse and area that is being regenerated, but actually it still was catastrophic. If there'd been people in that stream that day, they would have died. And so there's a big restoration effort. We want to understand erosion and sedimentation better. Obviously, a lot of sediment in the harbour is significant for the harbour life. Some of it's natural. This is, if you like, a natural process, and much of it we can get ahead of and talk with our communities about resilience, and that is our plan. This is a core area of Whaka-Ora work, and already has been. Next slide, thank you. Biodiversity mahinga kai. This is at the level of the marine biodiversity as well as the biodiversity on land. It includes many projects around understanding what's there, around supporting what's there, around planting, around reseeding. And third slide, thank you. Weeds and pests. As your excellent mayor would say, the only good possum is a dead possum. Thanks, Phil. And not only possums, but many other invasive species are being targeted here, largely by volunteers, as well as council staff working on their own reserves. and beyond. But these volunteers, and that's one pictured there from the WOP, the Whaka-Ora Pest Project, they are phenomenal in terms of what they're achieving and doing in their own time. It's a community partnership approach, as Yvette has said. Final slide, thank you. And what we need going forward. Firstly, we want to support you in your recent draft annual plan in terms of increasing the Environmental Partnerships Fund. That's the proposal in the draft plan, and we absolutely support that. We think it's a solid proposal as part of your long-term plan, and we'd like to see that keep going. We also just want to really acknowledge some of to Tyrone, as I've said, and also Paul Devlin and Tim Drennan, who are here today from staff, and just the huge level of support they have provided. So that's it from me. Yvette.
So in terms of Whaka-Ora, you can see the groundwork that we have done. Over that 8 years, the first initial period was really a settling in time, looking at establishing the 5 catchments within the Littleton Harbour area, and then working with those catchments, the plan. Can I encourage you to read the Whaka-Ora plan? It is actually one plan you will enjoy and probably go to bed and enjoy reading it. It is a different flow to it, and the reason for that is because it was built for the community and it's understood by the community. So we are now been through a review of that plan, and we are now into the stage of actually doing a lot more action on the ground. Part of the partnership with the sedimentation, it's the high priority of the term that we're in now. And me working with Christchurch City Council, you have already done quite a bit of work around there, but we're doing a holistic plan of the harbour and looking at the sedimentation, where the issues are coming from and how we need to be able to address it. And only the partnership of Christchurch City Regional Council, Littleton Port Company, working alongside mana whenua, able to be able to look at doing that and empowering our community to actually do the mahi. That is the key thing. They're on the ground doing it, they believe in it, and they believe in the partnership. So kia ora, thank you.
Thank you very much sorry Yanni that we've gone way over time, but very good, very good presentation. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
It's good.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay, is Rebecca here pleased to talk about trauma-led emergency responses in Christchurch East? Is coming? Yep. Good morning, very good to see you.
Kia ora koutou. Thank you, Chair, Mayor and councillors for allowing me to speak today. My name is Rebecca Robin. I'm an artist, advocate, a parent and a community member from Otatahi, Christchurch East. I'm here today to speak about communication and trauma-informed emergency response. We're a city shaped by crisis and stress, earthquakes, March 15, COVID, the wastewater treatment plant fire, and ongoing disruption. This history matters because it means we have already learned what works and what harms during emergency response. During the recent boil water notice, I contact local elected members to ask what psychosocial or trauma-informed responses were in place for tamariki returning to school under boiled water and heightened hygiene measures. These concerns were reflected to me by some educators in our community. Councillor Johansson provided a detailed response, acknowledging cumulative and complex trauma and the need to consider health impacts and act on them. Councillor Barber said they did not know whether there had been any psychosocial effects at all and that it would be discussed in a week's time. It was communicated to me that protecting infrastructure, monitoring water safety and protecting human health were immediate priorities, which is understandable. However, no trauma-informed response was activated alongside the operational response. Mental health and psychosocial well-being were clearly not being treated as part of human health. That inconsistency means our community's well-being can feel like a lottery. In the weeks prior to the boil notice, I'd already been advocating around the wastewater treatment plant for Maya, who was immune compromised, and her mum Kayla, who lived just outside the designated zone where help was offered to residents affected by Bromley, 1.3 kilometres to be exact. Earlier that week, I'd asked her elected member, and he had raised access to support with staff. When the boil water notice was issued, I Ubered bottled water to them because boil water is not appropriate for Maya. After Kayla bravely spoke to the press, their story appeared on the front page. Council moved into direct contact with the whānau. That support is now in place, and that's really positive. Vulnerability should be recognised from the outset, not only after advocacy, escalation by her elected member, and media coverage. Bromley is still ongoing. Street after street continues to live with the impact of the wastewater treatment plant and the ongoing stress. Then on top, a boil water notice is issued. Then schools return under heightened hygiene measures that mirror pandemic conditions. For children who live through COVID, that resemblance matters. Last year, South New Brighton Primary School was placed into lockdown. No trauma-informed response was activated at that time either. In a community already shaped by repeated emergencies, that absence really matters. After the Canterbury earthquake sequence, Christchurch commissioned psychosocial recovery reports. Those reports made it clear that prolonged uncertainty, increased anxiety, inconsistent communication damaged trust, and minimising language compounded harm. They also identified predictable, transparent updates as protective. Following March 15th, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern demonstrated trauma-informed leadership and action on the world stage. Communication-centred dignity. Harm was acknowledged immediately. Language was careful and deliberate. Communities were met with empathy, whānau-centred and not marginalised. The nation was given consistent, predictable updates, tone mattered. That response reduced harm rather than compounding it. This is what trauma-informed leadership looks like in practice. During COVID, research across Aotearoa documented increased anxiety and stress symptoms in children exposed to prolonged disruption and heightened safety messaging. National Emergency Management Guidance now recognises psychosocial recovery as a core pillar of any emergency response. We've studied this, we've funded this, we've learnt this, and the next step is implementation. In the PDF I provided, it outlines evidence-based strategies grounded in trauma-informed practice and kaupapa Māori frameworks. My recommendations today are embed trauma-informed psychosocial response as a standing emergency protocol that activates automatically when disruption occurs, to commit predictable, transparent communication schedules during crises, even when there's no new information, to reduce uncertainty and stress. Ensure schools and early learning centres receive immediate trauma-informed guidance when routines are disruptive. Proactively identify and support vulnerable households at the outset of an emergency event rather than relying on advocacy, escalation or media exposure. This is Christchurch. We understand cumulative crisis. We have the research, we have lived experience. We could be leaders in the country in trauma-informed emergency response frameworks. That would be an extraordinary legacy for this council to leave behind. Our tamariki deserves systems that are ready. To quote Hannah Rafferty Clark, seeds hold whakapapa. They must not be tampered with. Our tamariki are our seeds and we must nurture and treasure them for our future. Ngā mihi.
Absolutely spot on timing and very good to see you. Very
Thank
well
you.
done. Thank you. Thank you. So we have Robina and Anne talking to us about the introduction of 5G, please.
I've got a handout for everybody here. Yep, this one. Yep.
Is she going to turn it on, or am I going to do it?
It looks like they can control it. We've got the slide names sometimes.
So we just have to. We can't change the slides ourselves. Do you?
That's it.
Okay. Okay, so that'll go forward. That'll go back.
If you want to just test it. Oh, we'll start the timer and then it will work.
Okay. Thanks.
No.
Did you email?
Have you got slides?
Oh, we've got the slides, yeah, sorry.
But have you got the speech as well?
Yes.
You have. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Tyrone. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Right, thanks.
You can stand up.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we go for it. Now, you've got 2 lots, 5 obviously, 10 minutes. Fire away, please.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, there was mine.
Right, good morning to you all. The amount of research that we've done and the results that we've got can't possibly be fitting into the 5 minutes, but we'll do our best to go over some of the tops. I'd suggest you have a look at the actual script that I wrote out for what I was going to talk to, because I'm going to cut some pieces out to keep it to time. And also I'd like you to note what I got told when I rang up the council. The handout that I gave to you is my journey, and it's basically some of what I've been through. It doesn't tell you the whole story, but it briefs you through, showing that there's data in behind all this. And the back of the page, there was the symptoms that I've experienced, or some of the symptoms. So the first point I'd like to draw to your attention, if you can go on to the next slide. Oh. Okay, this chart here is the wireless exposure limits. This is across countries. It's not all of them globally, but it's some of the countries. And it just gives you a bit of a pattern on what's going on. The ones on the left there, that's the countries that are using the ICNIRP guidelines for this technology. The ones on the other side are using other guidelines. You will note that Spain, Germany, Luxembourg, France and Austria were all up at that top level. Within the last 2 years, they've all reduced it right down, because the technology, they're starting to become aware of a lot of it. The reason for the difference is they're dealing with thermal and non-thermal effects of the technology. ICNIRP believe that there is no need to be concerned about non-thermal effects of the radiation and disregard the evidence in line with that. What has happened to me shows that we need to be looking at the non-thermal aspects, and the current limits are too high. Non-thermal penetrate into the body beyond the skin level. The next slide, we're looking at the magnetic fields. You can see there once again, ICNIRP readings are way high on a lot of the other bodies that are out there. If you take 1% of the 2,000, you're still at 20, which is way above what is actually going on for most of those other organisations. And this is being looked at the whole time. From this, I actually started looking into exclusion zones because of the effects that I was getting from whatever technology is on the lamppost outside my place. And the answer I was given is that New Zealand doesn't have exclusion zones. Now, this is very fascinating when you think that UK, US and Australia do. I found some countries in the counties in the US, their exclusion zone was 91 metres from residential areas. RPANS, that's the Australian one, who use the same standard as us, it was about 30.9, and my bed's 10 metres from the pole. What I am sure of is my health is severely compromised, and it has something to do with the New Zealand Comms Network. This is supported by data. Christchurch City Council have given the permission for the overrun of this technology. That led me to a bunch of OIAs, 404 errors, page not found, and removed from the Internet archives. Someone really didn't want us to find something. And there's some of the search terms that I've put down there. Then I came across some files that I had, and I came across this particular document here, written by Neil Cherry. That document actually was had some information about ICNIRP. Neil Cherry was an Associate Professor of Environmental Health from Lincoln University with a Queen's Service Medal and recognised internationally as an authority on the subject. Yet Health New Zealand have advised me that there's no associated experts within Health New Zealand and the researching the effects of 5G. And I went out to the wireless centre at UC, University of Canterbury, and they said to me that there's nobody on the whole of the campus researching health effects of this technology. When I was in business, we were trained to look 20 years out and see how our business would look. Just think about this for Christchurch. Just imagine a maze of unseen wireless technology, radiation everywhere. Do you think that that will affect your health? What about your children's health? One of the things that Neil Cherry put, I think there's a slide missing somewhere along the way here.
Do you want me to turn that on?
No, go backwards. Back to this one here. There is no consideration being given to the cumulative effect of the technology. ICNIRP don't consider whether, if you've just got a cell phone, you might have a baby monitor, you might have other things. They're not considering the power of all of this technology, one on top of the other. They're just taking one piece of technology. We are so far over this, it just absolutely gobsmacked me. When I've read some of this data, I've just been gobsmacked. I've got this, I don't even know whether it's still on the internet. It may well have been removed because there's somebody hiding this stuff from us. So it's not what you see in the glossy 5G brochures. It's put together by that are put together by international interests. You need to stop approving this technology and instead to monitor it closely. It's scheduled for rollout in May, and if anything like what I've experienced is going to happen across the city, you're going to know about it, because I know already now there's a lot of people who feel this technology and nothing is being recognised from it. At least remove the small cell outside my place. That would be a start. But there's a lot of other people, numerous people across the city, people who can't even come into the centre of the city because of the technology. You're trying to build the city up, you've got to address this. This is a big, big health issue. And that sound, that buzz that people are aware of around the city, I would just about guarantee you that it's from the technology. Oh, there's one other thing I'd like to add too. The ICNIRP, the guy that was the president of it, Paolo Vicia, back in 2008, he actually made the statement that ICNIRP are not mandatory prescriptions for safety, and that they're not, nor are they a defensive wall for the industry. So the liability will come back to the council. Can you imagine how many health issues you might be having come back at you if this technology goes ahead? And I'm happy to share all of this information with anybody who'll listen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, anyone? Yay.
We've still got Anne to talk to.
Oh, sorry. We'll carry on with Anne. Sorry.
Right. Is that on? It is. I found the same thing as Robbie. 5 minutes is nowhere near enough to be able to talk to you about this topic. When I started trying to put a presentation together, I came up with 8 pages long, and I thought, uh-oh, this isn't going to work in 5 minutes. So I've given you all a copy of the 8 pages, and I've put together a slide show with just a little bit out of that document. So 5G, I've been told, is not a new technology and really no different to 3 or 4G, except for the way it's delivered. It's direct energy and has the same, if not more, safety concerns as the others. 5G is data gathering. Apparently 98% of what is used for phones and computers on the internet now works fine with 3 and 4G. I looked at the Resource Management Act 1991, Section 3, the meaning of effect for environmental management. It actually says this definition is crucial for assessing environmental impact in resource consent applications. I think this is probably pretty much up your alley. Now I'm talking about cell tower sites. Is it not your job to assess these when consent is required? What guidelines do the council follow when they check or approve cell tower sites? Do you follow the RMA NESTIF, National Environmental Standards for Telecommunication Facility Regulations? Have you checked the Ministry of Health's recommendations? Thank you. For human radiation exposure limits, and this is etched on my brain, NS2 772.1.1999. All these questions are rhetorical, actually, and all are irrelevant, because they seem hell-bent on referring back to the ICNIP, International Commission on Non-Ionising Radiation Standards. Not yet. According to many independent scientists, and there's bloody hundreds of them, these standards, which only take into account thermal effects, not biometeorological, are outdated, set too high, and show no long-term studies. Many countries have stopped using them, unfortunately not New Zealand. While looking for more information, I found a consensus on acceptable limits in the standards suggested by the Physicians for Safe Technology, quite a big outfit, and accepted also by quite a few countries. The measurements were in milliwatts. This is a learning level for me. Milliwatts per square metre, the same as the tri-field metre I was using when taking measurements of towers around Christchurch. Okay, now this is really interesting. I got interested in a tower at the Shirley Primary School because of a court case taken back in 1997 which involved the school taking telecom to court over a tower put on the edge of the school grounds. The case involved Dr. Neil Cherry, his research into the effects of radio frequencies on our bodies, chronic low-level, pulsed, modulated microwave exposure having effects on school children's memory and attention spans, especially over time. The school lost the case because the judge followed the ICNIRP standards. It was stated by that judge he would not impose a limit to the RF levels because it would suggest that anything above that level could cause harm. Interesting. Also, that telecom was to establish trees to shield the school from the direct effects of the tower, and this was to be monitored. So if you look at the left-hand side, you can see where the red ring is. There's a whole lot of trees, and amongst that, there is that tower. So this was meant to be monitored by Telecom and the Christchurch City Council. Now, fast forward to 2026. Can anyone see any trees there? I think there's one, and that one is actually on the school grounds. Of course, you gave permission for more buildings to go up, and they obviously took the trees down. Next slide, next slide. And this is the view the kids at the school get now from the telecom tower, right? Straight into straight into their playground. And the measurements I took in the playground were way over 20,000 milliwatts per square metre, of which those standards recommended nothing over 1,000. Right, so where are we now?
And how much more you got to go there, matey?
I've just got... Not very much, not very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So where have the trees gone? Obviously nobody's monitoring it. Next slide. Here we go. No, next one. Okay, so this, I'll just go over quickly. This is St Martin's Supermarket. We've got one huge tower, which is actually 50 feet away from the opening of the supermarket, but only 25 feet away from all those houses along the road. Then if you go further, stop doing that. Then if you go further, you've got the lawyer's office who has got a tower only 5 metres away from his offices. Okay, next one. And this is just frigging ludicrous. How would you like that tower outside your house? It's less than 2 metres from that person's front door. And if you go up to their bedrooms, you're even closer to the tower. Okay, now what have I got about this? Okay, so honestly, I don't know where you're going. Would you agree to have one of these outside your house? Okay, it could be arranged, people. It could be arranged. Just go to planning. Planning, I'm sure, will give you one of these outside your house. So, last paragraph. Please do not dismiss the evidence that low frequency as well as high ones over longer periods is very capable of causing harm, not only to humans, but wildlife and our environment as well as us. That's, and that includes you. So, no, I haven't. If I'd had time, I'd have mentioned a case with an English case. Which I won't. Okay, thank you. So
Thank you so much, Robina and Anne, for coming in. No,
I
sorry,
hope
Yanni,
you're
we
all
have no
going to
time.
go out and order one of those for the front of your house, because I'm sure those people are pretty bloody pissed.
Okay. Could I? Thank you for coming in. Brilliant. Okay, so now we have welcome John Minto speaking about item 20, the notice of motion, request for staff advice regarding protest-free areas. Welcome, John.
Kia ora koutou, and thank you for the opportunity to talk to the council today, even though it was at that relatively short notice. Really appreciate that. So the agenda for the meeting has a notice of motion at item 20 in the name of Councillor Keown, which calls for council staff to report on the possibility of creating protest-free zones in Christchurch with a focus on the Bridge of Remembrance, cemeteries and churches. Now, it's clear to me that the notice of motion is focused on the regular Palestine solidarity protests at the Bridge of Remembrance. And if that's not the case, I'm sure Councillor Keown will correct me. Incidentally, I have attended a protest in a cemetery, and it's the only protest I've been to in a cemetery, and it was in Auckland at the Simon Street Cemetery to protest the spraying of swastikas on Jewish graves. And I went there with a lot of other people to join that protest to show solidarity with the Jewish community of New Zealand against an appalling anti-Semitic attack. And I'm sure if Councillor Keown was there, he would have joined me at that protest, despite the notice of motion which he's putting forward today. So the Bridge of Remembrance is the most appropriate site in Christchurch for protests in support of Palestine liberation. If you visit there, you'll notice that on both sides of the bridge, very prominently etched into the sandstone, is the word Palestine. And it's a reminder that New Zealand soldiers were killed in the battles to liberate Palestine from the Ottoman Empire during the First World War. Now that liberation of Palestine was successful, but subsequently the British betrayed the Palestinians who fought alongside New Zealanders to liberate Palestine. The British betrayed them through the Balfour Declaration and instead promoted a Jewish state in the Middle East on Palestinian land. And that is at the heart of the problems that we've all had as the wallpaper of our lives for the last 70 years. So the Gaza War Cemetery has the graves of 21 New Zealanders and 2 Cook Islanders who fought in those battles to liberate Palestine. 7 of those graves are of Canterbury soldiers. Last year, Israel bulldozed part of those war graves. So we've got the destruction of war graves. Australia spoke out loudly about it. New Zealand, unfortunately, typical of our government, has refused to utter a word of condemnation for that action or demand restoration of those graves. Now, I think it would be appropriate for the Christchurch City Council to actually take that up with the government and say that we want to inspect the graves. We want to make sure that those graves which have been tended by a Palestinian family for over 40 years, that those graves are respected and that the memories of the New Zealanders who fought to liberate Palestine are again respected. I think this notice of motion is an attack on the right to protest under the Bill of Rights Act and the right to free speech. Having the right to protest only at designated places, it reflects the actions of authoritarian states around the world which say, yes, you can have a protest, provided it's in a cul-de-sac on the other side of town, well out of the public eye. We are bigger and better than that. We have a democracy and we must respect the right to protest. I think Palestine is the defining human rights issue of the 21st century, just as the Holocaust was the defining human rights issue of the 20th century. Did I get that right? Palestine is the defining human rights issue of the 21st century, just as the Holocaust was the defining human rights issue of the 20th century. And when our government refuses to condemn the perpetrators of apartheid, ethnic cleansing and genocide, then civil society groups must take up that responsibility and call it out. New Zealanders have done that in the past 2.5 years, and I'm proud of that. 2-1, New Zealanders support sanctions against Israel and recognition of a Palestinian state. Our government refuses to do either of those things, and so it's the role of civil society to keep those demands on the government alive. Mr. Keown, I would invite you to withdraw your notice of motion and join us at the Bridge of Remembrance this Saturday at 1 o'clock and reflect on the lives of those Canterbury soldiers who were killed in the battle for Palestine and join the vast majority of humanity in demanding freedom for Palestinians. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Thank you. Thank you, John. Thank you very much for coming in. That's good. Good to see you.
No questions?
Yeah, time's up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now I'd just like to acknowledge Tanya Waihoro from Mana Whenua, who is here to join us and be listening to the next deputation by Hayley Giulietta. It's speaking about item 17, Admiralty Corridor Terms of Reference. And then I will bring item 17 forward so we can discuss it then. Thank you. Far away, Hayley.
Kia ora koutou. Thanks for enabling me to do this deputation at short notice. My name's Hayley Giulietta. I'm a resident on the edge of the red zone. I'm the network manager for the Avon Takara Network, the organisation responsible for advocating for the regeneration process, and the chairperson of community organisations working at community-led disaster response in the red zone. Our views have been articulated clearly since the inception of the vision post-red zoning and time again since. The whole concept of co-governance was instigated by our community. It is always supposed to be the council, iwi and community. To exclude us now is pure and simply disrespectful to the people that left their homes, the community groups who are doing work long before the council came back in, and the communities that still have to endure broken roads, disruptive behaviour, and in a lot of cases EQC repairs. In hindsight, when this paper came to council last year, we should have asked you to send it back to the interim committee to get consensus, but we were simply blindsided by the outcome and felt powerless to act. So on behalf of the people who we represent, we implore you to add an appropriate community representative so that the enduring structure going forward has those voices captured. Thank you.
Okay, Celeste, question, please.
Thank you. Do you have any thoughts on sort of how that might work in terms of who might play that part, or which community organisation might step forward?
Well, I guess we're 15 years in now, and unfortunately we've had a lot of people who have this intellectual knowledge pass away. So there's probably only a handful of people left that probably fit the bill in terms of the skills for that role. Yeah. So I think adding just a simple community representative to the mix that's already been presented to you today would be the solution.
Hayley, finding it hard to hear you. Can you
sorry, I feel like that just adding a fifth person to the paper that you've got today would be the sensible solution.
Kelly, please, and then Yanni, and it'll do.
Thanks, Hayley, for coming in. Given that this next phase is the second of 3 phases of governance bodies, do you feel that it's important for a community rep to go on now rather than the charitable trust, which will eventuate after this period of mana and mana?
Great question, Kelly. I actually agree. This is really critical to have someone who's got the historical knowledge to be able to provide that knowledge into the formation of the trust document. Once that's established, we can probably all sit back and have a sigh of relief, because this has been a long journey for a lot of us. Yeah.
Okay, and lastly, Yanni, please.
Thank you. In the report, it says that the OARC is of high interest to the people of Christchurch. It says that it affects the Waitai Coastal Burwood Limit Wards Community Board and the Waipapa Papanui an Essential Community Board. In regards to the report around the terms of reference, has there been any views sought from those people working in the community around the Waitakere-Avon River corridor to have input into the development of the terms of reference?
Absolutely not. We've had no correspondence since we did the public letter back after the last meeting last year. So we're, 18 months?
So would you support us laying this on the table today to seek the views of those along the Avon River corridor into the development of the terms of reference?
I think they should have been, yes, absolutely.
Okay, and Andre, please.
Thank you. Kind of similar to Councillor Donovan's question, is there general agreement on who a potential appropriate community representative might be? Like, is there a way to appoint someone without a bit of, palaver and disagreement on who it is, and we get going?
I believe that there's probably a handful of people that are qualified to do that job, absolutely, and that could be appointed by the other people sitting on the committee.
Understood.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, righto. So we're going to, thank you, Hayley, well done. We're going to have a 15-minute break and have a cup of tea and get our act together. But just remember, in February 2025, the council agreed to the membership of this. This is just terms of reference that we're talking about. So if we are going to play around with it, we're going to have to do something different. So see you back here in just on 11:15, please, just after. Yeah. Okay, welcome back everyone. We are on item 17, which we're bringing forward. It's right there. I am happy to move it from the chair, and Victoria's happy to second it. And we've added in a little bit that Pauline's put in about requesting that any minutes from the meetings going forward are made public. And the meetings are public. All right. Okay, so we've moved and seconded it. I'll ask Andrew to talk to it, and then I may ask Tanya to have a few words if she wants to, please. We'll ask.
Kia ora, thank you. I'm just trying to get my computer open. I'll just shoot from the hip here. Okay, so obviously this has been going on for some time. We've had the establishment committee was operating for approximately 2 years. At the conclusion of that process, the way forward was put to council in around about January, February last year. That was a two-stage approach. The first stage being a committee of council, which is the decision in front of you now in regard to the terms of reference for that committee. The structure of the co-governance or the governance was debated and decided upon in that meeting. So we're essentially looking at the terms of reference. The construct of the terms of reference is to delegate all of the powers that council would normally hold as a full committee or a committee of council to the co-governance, with the exception only of decisions that cannot be made legally by a committee of council, that would have to come back to a full council. So that's essentially what the terms of reference cover, is to get this committee of council up and running so they can start delivering, so they can start making the decisions about how the corridor moves forward. It's all underpinned by the work that was done by the establishment committee, in particular the framework that would be required for decisions to be made, which was agreed between all parties at that time. So I think I'll stop there and open to questions.
Okay, well, first of all, Andrew, I'll invite Tanya to come up and have a few words if you so desire. Very good to see you.
Not many say that, Phil. E te raurangatira mā, e te kaunihira o tautahi, mihi mai. Nā mihi for letting me to have a say here. As you can appreciate, I'm not an often visitor to the council, but this was super important to ngai tuahuriri, and especially in partnership with council. So just for those who don't know me, kia ora, my name is Tania Wati. I'm the elected chair of Te Ngai Tuahuriri Runanga, and I'm here to represent my community and all community. My personal view on this is I also have a property in Dallington that and attend sometimes some community group meetings, but it doesn't take away the responsibility of all areas of o tautahi for tuahuriri. I want to be clearer to say we have worked and listened and heard the community, but I also have to consider, as myself being an elected member with the same type of election process as councils, that actually Kelly and Yanni, you're here as elected member from your community. My community just doesn't get to sit on all these types of different groups. We put people there for a reason. So I think that because you guys are here to elect on behalf of your community, that would be imposed on your responsibilities, and you guys would be the ones to be attending the meetings to feedback to your constituents. So do we require more people to the group? Potentially, but not right now. And why I say not right now is because nothing has moved for any decision makings within the red zone for over a year. We haven't met for over a year, and yet, we want to keep things moving, but without this going through today, there's no opportunity of when this will come back to this decision-making forum to ensure that we do have a correct terms of reference to move forward. We are 15 years on, and I'm not saying it shouldn't be. What I'm saying is not right now. I'm not saying it's not forever, but this would be Kelly and Yanni's job, in my view, as elected representatives of their constituents, to uphold the mana of their community like it is my job to do mine. So I think there is place for everybody, but I would just prefer this to move forward for now, so we can start the ball rolling and get some excitement back in the community. Ngā mihi.
Thank you, Tony. That's very, very good.
And,
Right.
sorry, just one more comment, just in case, just so there's no confusion. This is a committee of council that follows all standing orders, public meetings. People are welcome to come and do deputations, just like they can at this table, from anyone that may be affected by anything that's on the agenda.
Okay, so have we got any questions? Yeah, fire away.
Yeah, thank you. So in the report, it mentions that in February 2025, we passed a resolution to look at the establishment of a committee as an interim decision-making body, followed by the establishment of a charitable trust. So in terms of this interim committee, in the terms of reference, I don't see any work towards that charitable trust. Are you able just to give us a sense of how the terms of reference support that resolution of setting up the charitable trust, and why that's not mentioned specifically in the terms of reference?
Is it me or you? Or do I sit back there? No.
No, you stay here. No, you're correct. The terms of reference don't reference the future charitable trusts. It could be considered an oversight. I guess the focus at the moment has been on getting back to the table so decisions can be made. There's no reason why we can't amend those terms of reference.
Is there a time frame for the charitable trust, the permanent, enduring charitable trust to be set up?
There's no fixed time frame, but most of the dialogue when we went through the establishment committee phase was around at a certain time when the major infrastructure has been completed. You know, there's some really significant flood mitigation infrastructure that needs to be implemented, and that the charitable trust approach would be when we have an enduring, long-term corridor to nurture.
I just feel like
do the infrastructure first, and that's well in advance. In terms of all of the work has now been completed for the potential granting of a fast track resource consent to enable us to start implementing now. We've done all our work in-house. It's just getting ready to go through ECAN and then before we lodge. So once we've got those principles embedded in our long-term plan, and we know exactly what we're going to deliver and how we're going to deliver it, that's an appropriate time for a charitable trust to then maybe look at phasing that in to take over the long-term management of the land and look at the kaitiaki of the land alongside Ngāi Tuahuriri and council.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel that the process, we had the establishment committee, we've got an interim committee, then we've got a permanent solution.
Yes.
But it just feels very confused around who's doing what.
Yeah, Yanni, it's been answered, and I think it's been answered very well. Okay.
So then, basically, in terms of the membership, the ability to appoint community membership, if we wanted to move a resolution today, my understanding is that we would be unable to alter the membership today as part of this report. Is that correct?
I'd need a bit of technical support, but you would have to revoke the previous.
Okay, good answer.
The decision that's been made.
Thank you. Pauline?
Just touching on that comment around the terms of reference, and you said you could potentially amend that. Is it in the power of the committee to amend the terms of reference, or would they have to come back and recommend that to council?
Sorry, Mary, do you want to answer?
But the committee could make a recommendation.
They can make a recommendation.
So therefore, I would assume that, and correct me if I'm, confirm if I'm correct here, that if a committee was to get a deputation from someone from the community to recommend a change to the terms, and they were amenable to that, they could bring that to council and change the terms of reference at that point, if the committee so wished.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And staff would then have to consider what the resource implications of any change may be.
Of course.
In terms of timing and development and establishment.
Yeah. No, that's clear. Thank you very much.
Okay, any more? Celeste?
Kia ora. In terms of like giving feedback on where you see the process going, do you think that, would you be open to the idea of it coming back to council sort of after a review period? Because it is an interim group that's making decisions now, and whether, you know, as part of this process we could build in that kind of review of going if because I think there was some mention of bringing in that, another way of looking at bringing in that community representation as a formal role. Is that something that you would think would work as something we could reassess down the track as part of a sort of a formal review process?
Look, I'll be very clear on the technical stuff that we have worked on in the establishment phase, whether we give it its own personality, whether it's set under a different entity, whether what the enduring relationship looks like between council, mana whenua and community. We have gone through, whether it was a section 33, whether it was a section 36B, we have exhausted quite a lot of different options through talking to this. Am I always open-minded to possibilities to the future? 100%. But do I really want to seek an outcome to get outcomes? Always. Is this group on the last few years been on this long journey to better understand decision making for a community that is bare of land and dirty water? So should we always be open to these things? Yes. Do I want to give a hard and fast here? No, because I don't. We've traversed so much different options through not even meeting, that I'm just happy for this to sit here today so we can start having what we would call the whakawhiti kōrero, or the conversations to actually get us to a space. But in light of not meeting for over a year, it's dead air and then it's a vacuum.
Thank you.
Sorry, just got another one.
Hold it a bit closer to your mouth, Celeste, please.
Oh, sorry. And just in regards to the councillor representation as well, obviously it's quite a big geographic area, and it's not just about which area you represent.
So is Tuahuriri Takiwā.
Yep. So, but in terms of the Burwood representation, if the interim committee is in place for a long period of time, just wondering thoughts on revolving that representation amongst the councillors within that community board area?
Well, it's potentially the same for Tuahuriri, right? So I run a same election process. This year my throat might get slipped from my own people because it's politics. So it could be somebody else that is sitting there as a chair.
Yep, so I'm just wondering whether we could maybe look at that as part of the terms of reference, whether it could be rotating amongst the 3 ward areas, and if that's an option we can look at. So just wondering...
To be fair, this is all just words in detail, because there's actually a lot of big things to happen for the future. These things can come back when we've gone and had the conversation that we're not... Now, at the moment, we're filling a vacuum of what could be without what should be. And I'm happy to traverse all these conversations once we get in a room and start having the conversation. But in light of that, we're filling a vacuum.
Just to be clear, the committee, once it's established, could, if it chose to, form a subcommittee, and the membership could, in future, once it was established, one of the councillors may stand down and another be appointed, or vice versa. So all those things are possible, but the committee needs to be established and get up and running first before any of those things can happen.
Yep, that's correct. Yanni, please.
Yeah, thanks. So just in terms of the delegations to this committee, is there anything that the community boards, the 2 affected community boards, would be doing that they'll no longer be doing?
Not for that particular area, no.
So how will the community boards
That's the answer.
have input into the decision making, given that they're affected?
Just the same way we do for any community board when council has the delegation. So we usually go and seek their views.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's well answered. Right. No more questions. Shall we go into discussion or debate, please? Who would like to kick it off? Right. Yanni?
Yeah, cool. So I've circulated an amendment, and I want to acknowledge the work that's happened. Although,
Where have you circulated? It's a foreshadowed motion, is it? Have you circulated it?
It's been circulated. Yeah.
So this is a foreshadowed motion, is it, Councillor Johansson, is it right?
It's a procedural motion to lie it on the table to seek feedback.
Okay. It's already been moved and seconded. It's only up to us to...
So this would be a foreshadowed motion. It's leaving it to lie on the table, but also requesting staff to do a piece of work. So that would be a foreshadowed motion.
Yeah. Okay. So just...
So you're in debate now, aren't you?
Yeah, cool. So in debate. So look, I really appreciate this report coming to council today, although what's clear from reading the report is that it has an impact on community boards, it has an impact on the community, has an impact on local wards, and although I appreciate that my name's been mentioned, actually it's not even, there's no acknowledgement in this report that the Linwood ward, the ward that I represent, is affected by the red zone, when it is. And that really concerns me, that we've got a report to do something significant that people, and you would have seen the emails that were received over the course of the last day, that people want a greater degree of input into. So I feel like we need to get some greater feedback around the terms of reference. I don't understand why this report has taken so long to come to us after we made the decision almost a year ago, why nothing's been happening in the meantime. And we've heard some, I think, justified concern that things have not been happening. But I don't think that that's a reason not to get community views on this. I don't think getting community views from both the local community boards who are impacted and the community who have worked so tirelessly in this area on the terms of reference is a big ask. I don't think it's something that should take a considerable amount of time. But I only think when it's there's high interest in the community over this, and that's stated in the council report in terms of our community views section, that we should actually seek those views. I think it's incumbent on us. I recall going to an earthquake symposium several years after the earthquake, and the most important thing that was raised in terms of a lesson learned was it was about the people, the people, the people. It was about putting people at the heart of the recovery and at the response. And my concern with adopting the terms of reference today is that we're failing on that step on a number of areas which I've outlined. So, my view has always been that we should have community representation on this committee. I appreciate we've lost that vote as a council, but I do think it's incumbent on looking at the interim decision making, which I think is more of an enduring decision making for quite a while, that we do get some community feedback on it.
Okay, right. I want to put the substantive motion to the vote and see where that's at, and that will lead us on to what happens next. So we'll use the votendo thing, please, ladies and gentlemen. Bearing in mind, this as Tanya said, 15 years, and we've done nothing. There has been a lot of good work happen, but this will be... Yes, I have. Who we got, Sam? Okay. We're all done. It's all closed. Look at that. That is approved. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for coming home. Well done. Okay, so I'll move on to...
So we have a network issue, so...
Right, there we go. All good? Moving on? Right. Petitions, we have none. We have confirmation of previous minutes. I'm happy to move. Sam's happy to second it. PX, open and PX minutes on items 5 and 22. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Thank you. So carried. Now we'll do the Part A report for the Cashmere Penruddock roundabout, which I will just make sure that everyone's aware that we're just voting for the special traffic lanes and not what may be going to happen at the Con Board in the future. So do we all... You got questions, Aaron?
Yeah, it's just in the image, it's got it says Penruddock risk. We're not doing a street name change, are we?
No, that's an error.
Any other
questions? I thought, is there a hazards report coming along with this as well?
Just showing that you actually read the report. Yeah, oh, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Right. Any other questions? Right, we won't use vote 10 on this, I don't think. All those in favour? Against? Oh, Tim will move it, I'll second it. Okay, all those in favour? Against? Thank you, that's carried. Brilliant, sorry. Right, now we'll move on to staff reports, number 8, Hagley Ave Clearway. You happy to move it? I'm happy to move it, yep. I'll move it, Sam. Aaron will second it. This is clear, staff recommendation. Any questions of staff? Ooh. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Aye. Aaron. Against, thank you, that's carried. Now, number 9, which is, because Aaron will have read this, it's just name correction, simple as clear as mud. I'll move it, and Melanie's happy to second it. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Against, thanks, that's carried. Gowtham's back up again, maybe, for number 10, bus stop upgrades on Gloucester Street and Snaffs Streets. This is pretty clear and simple. Any questions? Tyler? Oh, Tyler's happy to move it, and David's happy to second it. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. And now we get on to number 11, Cathedral Square network. I am more than happy to... Yeah, Sam's happy to move it, and Jan, are you happy to second it?
I was going to move option 2.
Yeah, we've got option 1 on the table, and we've got a seconder for option 1. And so, any questions of staff? Any questions of staff? None? Any discussion or debate? Yanni?
Yeah, I'll foreshadow option 2. I'm concerned that the cost of doing this work, when we do have some uncertainty around one of the developments, it seems to me, given our financial situation, and we've just heard some excellent deputations this morning about what's happened in terms of impact of things like flooding in Little River, that we have pressing issues around our expenditure, and I think actually the better approach to Cathedral Square would be doing the minimum, rather than doing the expensive option now. I think in the future, when we see more development happening in this area and have more certainty about the impact of that development, then actually that's the time to consider it. But I'm still concerned at the huge cost that's associated with option 1, and think that given our financial situation and the other priorities, that it's far better to do option 2.
Okay, Tyler. Are we in debate now, are we? Obviously, that was debate. Yes.
Oh, I was just really surprised by Councillor Hanson's comments. I mean, the CBD needs to be revitalised, and we've heard that from the public for God knows how long. Even before the earthquakes, when we were just running around the bus exchange, always looking a bit dim. So this is an opportunity to invest in something that's really important, that has high foot traffic. It also has a lot of movement through it, and with the stadium coming up, it's just going to be even better. I have nothing but support for this item and the recommendations that are put for us. And with all of the economic development that's coming in from the hotels, from the entrepreneurs, from all of the businesses, it's really good to see the CBD getting revitalised again. And the CBD, the Cathedral Square, is the last piece of that puzzle that everyone keeps talking about. So I'd highly advise that people actually ask that people support this motion today.
Excellent, good work. Timothy, then David.
I can't support the words of Councillor Harrison Hunt more. This is absolutely needed. We are moving it forward economically. It's great.
I was just wondering what you had for breakfast there, Tim. Okay, David, please.
I fully support the first option, and I would hope that the works are completed in time for Anzac Day, or not started until after, given that the public will be in that area.
Good call. Okay, so we've had enough debate. I think I'll just do normal voting. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Thank you. That's carried. Okay, we're up to number 12, which is another very important but simple one. Walking Access Act. Who would like to move that? Marcus, and seconded by Victoria's got a question. I'll second it. No problem. So, Victoria, you got a question of the team?
Yeah, hi. My question's about the funding, really, and I note that the report says the proposed arrangement is that the individual trusts will pay for the maintenance and upkeep of the walkways. Has there been an inquiry into the financial health of the various trusts and their ability to make good on that proposal?
Good morning. Yes, the trust is the Rod Donald Trust, which is a well-supported, currently appears to be well-funded group. We've got a good track record of providing this sort of activity. I've got no qualms that they can do what they say they're going to do, and I think they'll be quite successful with it. They've also got a strong community volunteer base as well that will help with this mahi.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay, so no more questions. Any discussion? You've got a question? Any discussion or debate? Right, I'll throw that out there. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Thank you. That's carried. So we're now up to number 13. Environmental Partnership Fund. It's just a correction. So it's just you're happy to move it, Tyler, and Tim's happy to second it. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? That's carried. Number 14, Biodiversity Fund allocation. Pauline's happy to move it. I'm more than happy to second it. Yeah, Victoria has a question. And Kel.
Good morning. I think it's still morning. The Eco Abseil Limited, it's 75k. It wasn't until you get right down into the report that you can see that it's applying to the fund to support the CCC operational budget. Is that unusual to be applying for an operational budget from this fund?
What happened there was the original application was from the contractor that all the landowners had agreed should do the work, because it was multi-pronged, multiple landowners. So they decided it was simpler if the actual contractor put the application in. And apparently that's not protocol. So a way to resolve that was the grant's approved, but it's paid to the council to oversee the work. So they would pay the contractor to do the work on private land effectively.
Okay, all good.
I can add to that, councillor. So that change was made at my request. The request was from a contractor for multi-year funding to effectively grant money for work that they hadn't done yet. So it's been done before. I checked with finance that we'll hold the funds and release the funds once the work has been completed. Just reminding councillors that this fund gets applied to private land, not public land. So it was a mechanism to ensure, for example, if the company went bust or wasn't operating in 12 months' time, you know, the funds are still managed.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Very good response. Kelly.
Yeah, just under point 9, I wonder if you could explain the fund to Marie Neal towards Kaituna community weeding. I first read that as wedding, but obviously it's not. Yes. How will we be spending $60,000 on weeding?
Well, quite easily, that's the short answer. Kaituna Valley has extensive ecological values, over many hundred hectares. There's one owner in particular who's protected almost 1,000 hectares now, which is in covenant. And with that, there's surrounding land with extensive weed issues. Marie is, well, she's a Banks Peninsula Conservation Trust employee, but she works and lives in Kaituna Valley, and she has fronted that application to deal with whole lot of weed control in the valley across all that extensive conservation, private conservation land. There's multiple weed species, which there's all manner of them, which are expensive to control, and because I suppose the area has extensive natural values that have not been managed for a long, long time, but have now become protected through covenants. Obviously has revealed the extent of the problem, and so she's put together a proposal to work with the local landowners there to try and address it.
Yeah. All right. Hate fennel. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay, and Victoria, please.
Yeah, my question's also in relation to that. Is that a one lump sum of 60,000, or is it 20,000 each year for 3 years? I couldn't tell from the paper.
From my recollection, it is a lump sum, but it can be spent over a number of years. So it'll be paid up front, but I think the setup so it can be spread over a number of years, and that's generally how it works.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Right, we have a mover and seconder. Yes, we do. And so I'll put that motion. All those favour? Aye. Against? Thank you. That's carried. So now we're up to item 15, the Capital Endowment Fund. I am more than happy to move this. Who would like to second it? Tyrone? Are you with us? Oh, come in, Tyrone. Do you want to move it and I'll second it? Do you want it that way around? Okay, and I'll second it. Right. Any questions of someone who's not at the head of the table? Right. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Thank you. That's carried. Brilliant. We've done, where are we up to? Number 16, DRF. And Tim is more than happy to move this. And so, sorry, Tim's moved it, and Cal, did you second it? Yeah. And there is a foreshadowed motion floating around. Okay. All right. So we'll put, so the first one, the substantive. Okay. The first one is a substantive for putting that grant forward. We'll see how that goes. All those in favour? Aye. Sorry. Righto, okay. Sorry, I'm going too quick.
Yeah, councillors won't be fully aware of what's actually on offer here and what RDU are wanting to do for our city. So I am going to speak to it because it's a pretty unique opportunity that you need to be aware of before you make a decision on this. The fact that they've survived in our city for 50 years is a miracle. They've got a solid track record of making a lot of things happening with a really small amount of money, which is kind of a thing you want. This is the year that Christchurch is going to pop off and truly declare itself as open for business. And the timing is perfect because what they're trying to do here is activate a whole lot of different events around our city centre and activate those dead spaces that sit lifeless all the time, namely like Cathedral Square. They can run pop-up events there throughout the year and other areas. The Events and Festivals Fund will not work for this. A decision on that is months away. They're wanting to celebrate the anniversary this year. So waiting months for an oversubscribed fund isn't actually going to work. I'd encourage you to listen along because you may find out what we're going to be talking about here. I'd encourage you to listen. Last year we gave, the radio. Last year we gave New Zealand Opera $70,000 alongside running some school programs was towards 2 ticketed events. And these people are wanting to run events through our city all throughout the year. What I'm asking for is less than, it's half of that, a year's worth of events. They've got a mobile trailer ready to go and make cool things happen in our city centre. We can't forget the grassroots and the more alternative in our city because they end up actually headlining festivals. Some of you Electric Ave on the weekend, Split Ends, guess where they started? Things like Student Radio and Campus. Lord, who headlined Electric Ave, now headlining festivals over the world. Royals, her breakout song was first played on Student Radio. That's how it made it big. So we need to develop the future headliners of a festival like that. And by the way, that festival was the biggest economic boom for our city since the Commonwealth Games in 1974. So this is a pretty unique opportunity, someone wanting to activate our city throughout the year, and we should be excited about it. And if we want to know more about it, we should be going to see RDU. I think what I've asked for is pretty reasonable.
Far away, Tim. I know what
look,
you're going to say.
yeah.
Pauline first, then Tim.
Thank you, because mine's actually a process issue. I don't see why this is not treated as an amendment and we vote on the amendment first, because otherwise I don't want to vote against the substantive and find they get nothing kind of thing. It's a process thing. So can we treat it as an amendment and vote on it first?
Or you're going to add it into the substantive?
I was going to say the same thing.
Thank
Thank you.
Your turn?
Yeah, thank you. Look, totally agree with what my colleague has said. I've been involved with Radio U for, guys, I'm really old now, so let's be honest. Not quite the 50 years they've been running, but pretty close. I've done a number of events for them. They are an outstanding organisation, one that absolutely delivers and for the right reasons. So I'd be happy to increase to 35,000 along with the recommendation, my friend. So.
And Kelly's happy with that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course he is. Yeah.
Right. Do you want to talk to this, Kelly?
Yeah, I do, because look, I'm happy with the 20,000. I've been listening to RDU since the 80s. When I was at university there, I note that staff have recommended 20,000. They've also encouraged RDU to reapply through the Events and Festivals Fund for their proposed larger scale free to attend public events. So I feel like that covers it anyway. So happy to support this substantive.
Hang on.
Yep. So I'll have a new seconder.
Hang on, I've got to find out where we're at.
So the movers. Yeah, so we have.
Kelly has to agree.
So Kelly either agrees or.
Kelly, do you agree with Tim putting it up to the higher number because you are the secondor? And that'll make it the substantive, and then we can vote on it, and then we can get on to the next one. Right, good. Cheers. Right, good work, mate. Okay. Yeah. Yes, that's right. So Sam, are we all right? We've got what we see on the ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Right. So what we got on the screen. All those in favour? Against? Brilliant. Thank you. Carried. 17 we've done. Three Waters quarterly report. Now this is a report that we bumped the other day because we didn't have time.
Good morning, everyone. So this is the Three Waters quarterly report for October to December 2025. I'll take the report as read, but I'll just go through some highlights that are standouts for that quarter. The first one was there's been 6 non-compliant conditions on the water supply, and that was mostly around sites that had, when we did audits were undertaken, there is diesel stored on site, which was a non-compliant. So as opposed to, it wasn't a water quality issue, and there's a flow meter that was out of verification. The big standout is the improvement in leakage results. So we've gone from a band C down to a band B. That's been largely driven around the change in approach that was done probably about 18 months ago on focusing on those worst areas. We also increased the leak detection budget by reprioritising our budgets within Three Waters. It's also worth noting that currently in the city, we also account within those numbers. We also account for private leakage. A point of difference would be in Whaka-Ora. Now that Whaka-Ora is fully covered with smart meters, that's gone into a band A. And the big driver there is that because we have smart meters, we're not accounting for the private leakage. So we're just actually concentrating on our network. So that just provides a bit of a context between that, although a lot of leakage we report would be private property in Christchurch City. And obviously, people still like to talk about percentages. In Christchurch City, went down from 28.5 down to 24% leakage. So again, we're heading in the right direction. Staff have worked hard on this, and I think the change in methodology is now starting to show that we're heading in the right direction. Wastewater, we had a number of non-compliant conditions, mostly around reporting. With ECAN, so they're minor non-compliances. The standouts would be obviously odour at CWTP, and at Devotionals we did have a breach on total nitrogen, but that's being rectified. In stormwater, we are 100% compliance, and the most notable there is the Community Waterways Partnership. There's 9 projects were awarded funding from the contestable fund. So that's the highlights of that quarter. Happy to take questions.
Okay. That's very good news about leaks, mate. It's very good to hear. Yanni, please.
Thank you. I did send through some questions in regards to the briefing around the CWTP. But I just wanted to check in terms of the wastewater treatment plant, for the response, one of the things that we were going to do in the odour mitigation plan was look at consideration of additional monitors. Have they been ordered, or has there been a decision about deploying additional monitors, given the stench that's occurring, to put in a wider area to measure what the impact is?
No, we haven't purchased additional monitors for the outer area. We have purchased for additional monitors within the ponds to give us more understanding of what's happening within the ponds, and to give us earlier warning that there's odours coming from the pond in a certain direction. But we haven't purchased additional monitors for out in the community.
Right. And what would be the cost of purchasing a couple of monitors?
I would have to come back to you on those numbers.
Right.
I couldn't tell you.
Is there any update on the live dashboard around the pond health, or around the getting greater data in a live sense rather than a kind of, the kind of reactive sense that we've currently got?
Yes, so the hydrogen sulfide live data, I'm hoping that will go live next week.
Okay, good answer. Thanks.
Will that be a daily reading of it?
Correct.
And the monitors that we've got, is there any ability for them to look at transmitting that directly to a website, or does it still have to be read by a consultant?
No, it'll be, I think it might be 6 o'clock in the morning. It'll be uploaded to our website. So that gives the ability for the public to go in and see what the readings were the last 24 hours, but they could also then search back to as far as the data goes back to. So they'll no longer have to open up a PDF to look at what were the odour results back in last December.
Okay.
Thank you. How many more?
Yeah, just a couple. So obviously the Mayor's got a proposal to look at a bypass option. Do we have a date for when that briefing might come to the elected members?
No, but I'll organise one as soon as possible. So
okay, because there's a lot of community interest in that proposal, obviously. So
yes,
yeah, it'd be good to just get some timeframes around the next steps. And the final question from me is around just understanding what resources are available to support the community. I mean, I just got the latest update with the charts, with the graphs, and the levels around the health guidance are just being exceeded, like double, nearly 3 times as high. So we're still getting that stench at a really, a level that's just completely unacceptable. Is there a budget that you have that you can put towards the psychosocial response, or do we need to consider passing some resolutions to look at making some resources available, including funding, to continue that response?
I think the best thing, Gavin, is we'll get Gary Watson to come in and have a discussion with everyone if you want to, because he's Johnny on the spot, really, isn't he? Okay.
Is there a way that we can get a more regular governance oversight of what the response has been?
Talk to Gary.
So as well as the thing that goes up every day or every couple of days on the website, you'd like it to come to...
What do you want more?
Well, previously when we had the fire, remember I think we got a 2-weekly report for a while it was a chronic situation. It's kind of, we're in a chronic situation. In terms of just having an ability at a governance level to make decisions if we need to, I'm just trying to understand if there is a better way on top of the daily updates, or the weekly or the several times weekly updates, of where we can get visibility to both the community board and the council.
Okay.
All right.
We'll look at options. Because one of the things that came out last time was actually more regular meetings, more regular updates that were live and available to look back on the website, and rather than these waiting for fortnightly. So that's what the team's implemented now. So it's on the website, people can scroll back, look at other things. But now you're saying you want something different.
Well, the question really is, if we need to make decisions at a governance level, how do we do that? If we need to, in terms of the response.
They would come to a council. We'll have a talk to Kevin, but they could come to a council or F&P meeting. So that's every fortnight. They're every fortnight anyway, if there were budget meetings. Yeah.
Okay, and then, sorry, just completely unrelated, but the issue of the chlorination, I thought we were going to be given a little bit of just a update on what was happening around that process.
Is this Tamara?
This is the ability to get an exemption for putting chlorine into our water supply.
Yeah, so what happened there, Tamara were scheduled to come down yesterday, but when the location changed to Whaka-Ora, we had to reschedule that because it wasn't practical for them to come out. So that's now, they're now scheduled for the 14th of April to come to council and present.
Thank you, Gavin. Right, Tyrone, sorry.
Thank you, Kelvin. Thanks, Gavin. So just on the wastewater overflows, so we've had probably more than we would have liked and expected. So I appreciate that it's probably too early to understand exactly why they've occurred. I mean, obviously there's been high rainfall and that's one of the drivers, but is it reasonable? Can we expect, like, as councillors, to get some reporting back on proposed mitigation, after an investigation as to why they're occurring, any sort of mitigations that we can consider for a future long-term plan? Is that how that process would work?
Yeah, we will look at those. So in terms of the wet weather events that cause the overflows, we'll look at those specific ones and see if, because obviously our system is designed for a certain event. So typically, say a 1 and 2 year event. If they are overflowing more frequently, then we need to take action. There's obviously options if this probably comes down to level of service. If we want to have less overflows, we could look at what that would cost. But obviously, generally speaking, there always will come an event that will exceed what we designed for.
Would we get that information before the long-term plan goes into draft?
Well,
if there was anything to
the
consider?
Last event, we'll look at those overflows that occurred and see if there are easy fixes that can reduce the frequency, or if the frequencies are higher than they should be, meaning that we're not meeting level of service.
Okay, thank you. And sorry, Your Worship, if I may. A lot of those were around Littleton Harbour, and we had a public forum this morning from Yvette Couch-Lewis, who leads the Whaka-Ora Healthy Harbour group, of which obviously we're a partner in. And I know that there's been some pushback from mana whenua, Ngāti Whiki around that as well. Is there any change to our sort of communication protocols around how we engage with iwi and mana whenua around wastewater overflows, given that some of them have caught people by surprise?
That's been revisited, working with them to come up with a new protocol.
Thank you, mate. Melanie?
I had a question around the water consumption on page 220. I can see that residential consumption has been reducing over the last few years, but the consumption's actually stayed steady because there seems to be more commercial consumption of water. Can you comment on that?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't catch the last part.
If you look at it, looks like commercial consumption of water has increased because the amount of water consumption isn't actually changing in total. So I was wondering if you can comment on that.
In terms of commercial increase, I can't comment on it, but what I will say is it's metered and it's captured and charged for. So it's, if we saw it going up, it'll have to be significant for us to look into it. Essentially, we're selling a product.
It'd be interesting to know why that is.
Yeah, I can ask some questions, see if we have an understanding.
Or if you can see somewhere in the network
I can do
where it's
that.
happening. Yeah.
Generally more businesses as well, doesn't it? Will be using it. Kel? Good.
Indicating that I'm happy to move it.
Oh, goody-o. Yep.
And I'd also like to just speak to it, just in terms of...
when we get to the debate part. Okay, right. Tyler?
Kia ora, mate. Hey, just a question out of public curiosity, actually, was around the abatement notice and how many times we have been going outside of our consent. Is there any other implications for that if we do that a number of times from ECAN?
Well, it can always be, there can be escalated. So we've got an abatement notice at the moment, and we're working with ECAN to work through the actions on that, which we will do, and we'll meet those requirements.
Is there a timeline on what they require?
So to have a response back to them on the 16th of March, which we'll meet. We're also discussing some of the detail of the request, just to of what we'll provide them, but we'll meet the 16th.
Which includes the proposal of the mitigations, which includes the outflow into the ocean, right?
No, it doesn't. So what they've asked for has been mostly around confirming that we have standard operating procedures on operating the temporary plant. They've asked for additional sampling of the ponds to be done daily. They've also asked for information on any maintenance or capital works that would make the odours worse. They haven't asked what are we doing to remove the odours fully, because obviously we've got the activated sludge plant in construction.
Of
so
course.
I assume that's why they haven't asked that question.
I see, okay.
But we will meet with them in the next week to discuss it in more detail.
Great. Last question really quickly. Is there any, at the moment as you see it, is there any financial or legal risk for us going forward?
No, I don't see there is. If we keep doing what we meet the requirements of the abatement notice. So at this stage, I don't see a risk going forward. But if we thought there was, we'll come to council and
Yep. Cheers, Kev. Thanks.
Think about Celeste, please.
Kia ora, thanks for coming on. Just a quick question around the outfall pipe. How far progressed is that? Is that sort of, are we in the preliminary investigation stage? Have we ordered pipes? Where are we at with that?
No, we've ordered no materials. We've just looked at for example, the sizing of what the pipe would be, how we would bring it in. We've also met with a contractor to see how we'd do it. That'll provide us a robust plan and cost of the works, but we have not. And we are meeting with ECAN this afternoon to discuss what those pathways would be, because obviously we intend to stay in compliance. We don't look to, we're not looking to exceed our consent.
in terms of indicative budgets, is that something that will come back to council in terms of for approval?
We would come back to council to brief you, yeah. So, I mean, we've got budget at the moment for it, but obviously if it got outside of our current budget allowance, then we'd have to, seek more funding.
And just the final one from me, I've heard the term temporary. Do we know what temporary means? Is that likely to be until the plant is operational? So that could be a few years.
It'll be until the activated sludge plant is operational and is doing the work to remove the load from the ponds. At that stage, it is a temporary system. Would want to remove it as soon as possible because it comes with an OPEX cost that we would have needed once we had activated sludge plant in place.
So it would be removed at the end of the process, you're thinking?
Yeah, we'd remove it because it wouldn't be required and it would save OPEX to remove it later. Yeah.
Okay, Samuel?
Oh, yeah, Gavin, it was just a bit of feedback on the treatment plant. I was just going to say thanks very much to you and the comms team because I think a lot of those questions, they were in that update that came out yesterday, which was around, so you're not only informing us, but you're informing the community, and I just think it's really useful you're doing it. So thank you.
Okay, so we're going to debate. Anne Kelly.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to publicly thank Brent and Gavin and the Three Waters team for the wonderful work they did basically dealing with the surface flooding in Wainoni in Newport and Tenby Streets. I brought it up at the agenda setting meeting the other day, but I just wanted to thank them publicly. They did an amazing job, and I also want to thank the Mayor for contributing and bringing a focus on that. These people had knee-deep water for 24 hours at different times when there was heavy rain. Literally kept me up at night thinking about it every time it rained heavily, and I think the solution has been absolutely fantastic. And I got some photos the other day after that heavy rain showing that the streets were empty, and the people of that area in Wainoni particularly appreciate it. So sometimes we really get it right, and I really just want to appreciate the work that was done by the Three Waters team, and also the work that the ongoing work that they're doing with the wastewater treatment plant. I think it's incredibly difficult, to keep an engine running and look for solutions at the same time, and I think sometimes that gets lost in the odour issues and things like that. But these guys are doing an amazing job for our city to keep. It's like running a car when it's broken down, and they've done a fantastic job, and I think we should continue to appreciate the work that they're doing.
Well said, Cal. Okay, so with that, we will put that motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Thank you. That's carried. Thank you very much, Gavin.
Thank you.
Right. Now we're up to... No. Notice of motion. Number 20. So it's been... Right, we're up to number 20. You got that? Request for staff advice regarding process-free areas, and the mover, I assume, is Aaron, and the seconder is David. Would either of you two like to talk to it, please? Yeah, far away.
Yeah, this was a pretty simple notice of motion. It's not about stopping people's ability to protest or complain or make petitions. It is purely around sensitive sites in the city where I don't believe people, and I've had a lot of feedback, should be protesting and harassing other people and businesses. Happens quite a bit, and I'm more than happy if the report also looks into where could become a site for protests or a speaker's corner. Once upon a time it was in the square. The Bridge of Remembrance wasn't used for this kind of thing because that's now where it's almost the centre of town, because the square's a little bit derelict. That has become the attention point. You'll see them blocking the and I'm not going to pick on any particular group, but you'll see them block the tram, you'll see them haranguing tourists and disrupting local businesses, and it's not a good look for the city, but most importantly for me, the Bridge of Remembrance is a sacred site, as are the other ones listed in the notice of motion. So it's purely to ask staff to investigate and to see what they come back with. It might come back with protesting anywhere, anytime is all right and a good thing. And then that will be the case. We'll just live with that. But it might also come back that it's not.
David?
I'm happy to say it in debate, or now as easy as. Go for debate. Okay. So, no, thank you for the opportunity to present the notice of motion. I'm proud to have seconded it. This is not about stopping protesting. It's about respecting sensitive sites across our city. It's our community is feeling vulnerable during certain times. I've had citizens that have come to me, retailers from the City Mall, people who are employed by Christchurch NZ, volunteers looking after some of our cruise boat people who have said they've felt intimidated, and they talk about the disorder at times. In recent times, we've seen this escalate across the world, particularly in Sydney most recently, and we're starting to see those effects now here in Christchurch. Yes, every citizen has the right to protest, but it is, as you'll see in the advice here, it's about peaceful protest and it's about peaceful assembly. This is not just about the Bridge of Remembrance. We are asking staff to investigate sites that could be sensitive sites, that could relate to a mosque from the terrorist attacks or the terror attacks. It could relate to the earthquake memorial. It could relate to a marae. It could relate to many different places within our community. This would not prevent or stop peaceful protests. If nurses wanted to continue to protest outside the hospital, or school children outside the council chambers here around climate emergencies, or the wharfies having a picket line in Littleton, it does not stop them. It provides that they would continue to be peaceful. But we would, as a community, if we do this, we would demonstrate that our city, despite of our political flavours, despite of our educational background or social status, have the knowledge, the understanding, and more importantly, the respect to our history. In the first instance, we are asking staff to seek information. We should never be embarrassed or afraid or scared to ask questions. If voting no to this, you are voting no for information. I request my fellow councillors to vote yes today on this notice of motion. We are seeking information to ensure we protect the honour and respect sensitive sites across Christchurch.
Okay, is there any questions of either the mover or the seconder, please? Any discussion or debate? Tim?
Sorry, I did have a question, but we jumped into debate.
No, don't worry.
I guess when the information comes back, and I'm presuming it will, the definition of a sensitive site, because as David mentioned, you know, you've got mosques, you've got churches, you've got cemeteries, etc. But you know, like I see my relatives who had died in World War I, etc., had done it for freedom, and they might have just gone for an adventure, whatever. But that is the end game. So, what's sensitive to me, or more sensitive to me, may be something else. I mean, I was appalled when we moved the cenotaph, for instance. That was totally against anything I believed in, but that happened, and it's what it is. But I guess when the report comes back, will that also kind of have some discussion or some definitions on that and some feedback on that?
Yeah, that'll be an integral part of the report, determining what is a sensitive site. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cal, well, while we're still in questions, Kelly, or whatever you want, just mix it around.
Yeah.
Right, so we're going to debate. You happy? Everyone happy? We're going into debate or discussion. Kelly.
Yeah, I've had mixed thoughts about this. I really enjoyed hearing from John Minto this morning. I thought that was an excellent presentation. I think protest is incredibly important in our society, and I well remember John protesting the Springbok tour very bravely back in the 1980s when I was a teenager, and it takes a lot of courage to do that. I think it's good for us to actually go through the process of having a think about this, finding out what people think about it. I'm open to the idea, and like Aaron mentioned, look, if staff make some recommendations that disagreed with, well, we can accept that, but it's a fundamental part of our society, to be able to have free association and to protest anything that we're unhappy with. But it'd be good for us as a city, I think, to have a think about, are there places that we wouldn't like to see protests? So I'm not afraid of sort of going down this track, and I hope that you'll support the consideration of this.
Tim?
Thank you, and thank you to David for his presentation, his debate, because I think you should never be afraid of finding information out. So I'm really quite happy with this and comfortable with this. And I mean, when the cenotaph was moved, I thought it was abhorrent. It was absolutely disgusting. But it was moved, and we move on. But I do think part of the report back would be interesting, because for 40 odd years or longer, the public speaking place had been at the steps in front of the cathedral, and I think that was a real focus for the city. So I think, how can we, or why don't we get that back?
Exactly.
What the problems are with that? I want to find the information. I may not agree with the findings that come back or whatever but I do want to get the information so we can be better educated with the decision. But thank you.
Thank you. Andre?
Thank you. Yeah, I guess I believe that we do need to have a look at spaces like the Bridge Remembrance and having a look at sort of what hours of the week we're using for things, make sure that there's a good balance of vibrancy, whether there's, buskers, performers, pop-up gigs, and indeed people's right to protest, I think is part of that area and needs to be. I don't think a blanket ban is something that we should be looking at. I think what we need to look at is the timings around the week and how we can make those spaces work a bit better for everyone, and that's including those who do have the right to use their voice. If this doesn't pass, I'd be absolutely comfortable with working with councillors on exactly that. But resorting to the ban kind of needs to be the last resort. I think even getting information on this today is going to result in a whole lot of new protests. And even though we're just getting advice, it's how it's going to look, right? So I think banning needs to be a last resort. If there's an issue with these spaces, let's look at how we can manage them first. And we need to be really careful with the sensitive sites one as well. Because it was just mentioned that health services wouldn't be impacted. You could still protest outside health services. For a lot of women, that's absolutely horrific, having to put up with protesters outside a hospital when they were accessing health services. Absolutely horrific. And they've had to put up with that for a very long time. So, we need to be real careful if we're going to start to choosing what sensitive sites are and are not. But at the same time, I think managing these spaces is where we need to do as a first step. Thank you.
Okay, Pauline.
Yeah, I can't believe that people are thinking about supporting this. I think it's opening this organisation up to potentially a huge piece of work, and even the piece of work bringing back the recommendation is going to be a big piece of work. Even though it says here it's not, it will be, and I think we've outlined the reason around the table here that defining these sites for a start, that you're going to pick and choose that people can and cannot stand there and express their point of view, and largely, in my view, it's always peaceful in Christchurch. So I can't believe people are even supporting this to reach the starting gate. So I will not be supporting it today. Okay. It's a breach of human rights.
Just throw my 2 cents worth in. I'd just like to agree with everything Tim said. That not very often that happens. But 15 years ago, we lost the centre of our town. We lost the heart of our city. So, and by default, people are protesting down, we'll say, everywhere, but down at the Bridge of Remembrance. If we get the heart of our city back, so this I think, it's a place where let's not lose sight of getting the centre of town fixed so that everything gets back to the way it was. That's what I'd like to see. But that's where it always was, and steps the cathedral, and there's tons of room in the square. But anyway. That's my 5 bob words. So we've got move a second, we've got everything. Rotendo, okay. Yes. Okay. Ooh. So that is lost. Okay. Okay. No worries. Right. So now we're the highlight of the day. This brilliant piece of literature, the Mayor's Monthly Report. It's been extremely busy month with the 15th. Thank you, Aaron. The 15th anniversary of 22nd of February. That was very poignant, because going out to the personal one at Avonhead Cemetery, you see how raw it still is with some people. One lady had come all the way from America and she hadn't been here for 10 or 12 years, so it was very good. It was very good. I also want to take the opportunity to say thank you to every staff member, volunteer, community member, everyone who rolled their sleeves up and got stuck in, and they're still doing it over in Banks Peninsula this month. And it's not until I jumped in the car and went with Lynn, Leslie, and saw that photo that you saw earlier with the guy standing in the hole, and that is a council maintained road. There's no fault of the road that it did its thing. It was the fault of how much rain came down. So we're not to blame, it's just we've got to fix it. So we've got all sorts of other things. Our draft annual plan is out. The Three Waters, the boil water notices, I'd just like to say, when we do testing every day of the week, all the time we're doing testing, every second day. If we come across some grubs in the water, our only way we can do instantly is a boil water notice. As it turned out, when we start working into it, it was the tiniest little thing that caused this, but it affected a hell of a lot of people. But if we didn't do that, and it was a big thing, and people got crook, we'd be in the gun forever. So it's like a state of emergency. Get out there, declare a state of emergency, let the people know, let the people who know what to do it, and get us out of the way. What else have we got? Oh, went out to the opening of the new residential building at the UC, which is the students were waiting outside to move straight in as soon as we moved out, and they're building another one almost right next door. Britain Museum was outstanding, very, very good. One of the citizenship days we had at Waitangi Day was at Nahui Wha, which was always memorable. We've got another one on this coming Monday. Had a yarn to the Antarctic Gateway mayors from Argentina, Chile and South Africa and Hobart, just on a Zoom call, on how we've got to make sure we look after our customers that are all going down to Antarctic and making them happy. And Nelson Christchurch, the Origineer, that was outstanding. It's quite a small plane, but what a fantastic group of people that want to get it going. It's only 50-minute service, so it's good. So as you can see, there's a wee bit of stuff coming up as well. So the day is certainly busy, but I'm still enjoying it. It's good fun. So I'll move it, and Aaron's happy to second. I'll put the motion all in favour. Aye, against, thank you, that's carried. And we'll do a resolution to remove the public, or exclude the public. I'll move it, and Vic will second it. All those in favour? Aye, thank you, that's carried. So give us a second.